I don't plan on this video being long, considering that I have better ideas afterwards to film better content. And the only reason why I want to make this is because the situation in general goes against what I said in my hatred towards Lost Records video, as well as my video kind of talking about just the decline of interest in choice-based single-player experience narrative games, whatever you want to call them.
When did this community stop being a safe space? I've been a part of this community for almost 10 years. Part of the reason I love this community so much is because it's welcoming, it's kind, and it's so wholesome. But lately I haven't been feeling that way. It just seems like ever since Double Exposure came out, there's just been a lot of toxicity. Someone in my community has sent me a thread that somebody is making about me on Twitter and just posting all these really mean and hateful things. All because I've made videos saying that I enjoy Double Exposure and that I liked Max in the game. The thread is even made by somebody who's a Life is Strange creator. How can you make such hateful content around a franchise that is all about acceptance? The person even makes Lost Records videos, and how can you make videos talking about how amazingly written these characters are when you're doing the very thing that happens to this main character? Swan is bullied throughout the entire game, and yet you are now bullying other people for liking something. You know, I never wanted people to agree with me. I just started making content because I love the franchise so much. I loved connecting with people that felt so emotionally broken by these games and that we could just talk about it. Even the people that don't agree with me, I still wanted to talk about them because I liked hearing a different POV. But ever since that thread has been made, I've gotten a lot of DMs and comments, like just hateful things, because I enjoy something and I just don't understand like why you would want to bully someone or make someone feel bad because they like something. This whole community was built on an emotional franchise that we all loved, and it was all about accepting and building a safe space. But now it just feels like it's filled with like so much hate for no reason because you don't like something. And it's ironic because I recently just told one of my mutuals on here that they should start making Life is Strange content because the community is just so accepting and wholesome and welcoming, and I don't know if that's true anymore. I've even gotten DMs of people like attacking me because I've deleted their comments because they're just full of insulting and mean and hateful things. It just sucks because there's a lot of toxic gaming communities out there, and there's a lot of people out there like me who just game for an escape, and it's nice to connect with people about the games that you love and feeling like you're in a safe space. And it just sucks that this doesn't really feel like one anymore.
The main reason why I'm making this video is because something happened with the overall release of Double Exposure. My first initial opinion with just the overall decision that they decided to do, where they decided to make Chloe and Max break up, was I didn't care. And originally I didn't care just after playing the first game because I never liked Chloe as a character. And I think one of the biggest hot takes that I have, and I think I might have mentioned it in some random video, but I genuinely believe that a lot of people that care about Chloe are people that relate to Chloe specifically. And I would say that there are better portrayals of characters that basically embody the whole Gen Z loneliness type thing going on right now, with all these fake friends, people leaving and all that. And I do think there's far better characters within media, but if you do really enjoy Life is Strange, it's kind of hard not to ignore that. And you know, there's other videos that talk about, like, you know, the how Life is Strange portrays nostalgia, like the goods and bads of nostalgia, and why Chloe's character actually does work. And I kind of came around to that where it's like, oh shit, especially nowadays, especially with my situation in general. Yeah, I completely understand how Chloe feels having someone leave, coming back, and then basically just being stuck in those memories of the past. And it makes a lot of sense why people tend to, ship those Chloe and Max together, because it's kind of projecting. It's pretty much like they're just expressing the feelings of how they feel and how they are as a person, and I completely understand that, especially for me nowadays. Like, there's barely people I communicate with, and I'm just looking forward. I'm not even thinking about the past now, because that's just, I mean, it's good for art, but it's not good for mental health. And where it brings me now is how so many of those people that care about that relationship and that dynamic would go out of their way to attack people, but more specifically, one person in particular within the Life is Strange community that actually liked Double Exposure. Now, coming from someone that did like Double Exposure, my opinion on Double Exposure pretty much changed with my opinion on the original game, which is like, oh, this is amazing, this is so good. And then you play it again, or you at least have time to think about the negatives of it, and then you're like, okay, it's not that good. Or you think about it even more, like, okay, it's probably the worst within the series. Now, personally, I have a better experience with Double Exposure than I do with True Colors. I think that True Colors story is garbage, and I think that the story within Double Exposure is decent for the sci-fi mystery kind of deal. Um, if it was a movie, I would totally have watched that movie. But it's no Life is Strange. Hell, it's not even, and it's not Before the Storm. Before the Storm has a more down to earth feeling to it, and the first game has that mixture between that down to earth vibe as well as the what the fuck butterfly effect into it. So where I am now is I'm thinking like my original plan and my original I had some ideas when I did make my Life is Strange video to just briefly talk about the fandom and the community, and I did mention it where it's like I don't want to get involved with them because on paper it does sound like it'd be awesome to be a part of a fandom that loves something you love, but there's also the negatives where it's like if you don't like something you might get attacked for it, and that just goes for a lot of things. There's only one fandom that I'm a part of, and it's not really much of a fandom as it is more of a community that for the most part shares a lot of the same opinions, and for the people that don't share the same opinions, we still share respect. That is not something that I can find within the Life is Strange community, and that is not something that I would find within other communities, specifically artist communities, band communities. No. As well as other series communities like BoJack Horseman, for example. And it does make me think back to the whole, specifically being a teenager and finding that stuff and resonating with that stuff and wanting to have other people to talk about with that stuff. It just becomes so convoluted and honestly dysfunctional when you get to the point where it's like there are so many, like when people care about something too much, they honestly end up ruining it for everybody else. And I think I also brought that up within my hatred towards Lost Records video as well. But that was more of a statement towards people that want to get into something and are turned off by it because of the how diehard the fan base is or whatever. Because I'm gonna be honest, I am one of those people that I enjoy the franchise for the most part, most of the franchise. Um, and I would love to, and I loved watching people experience it for the first time. But I'm also not the type that if soon as someone comes out with a video that absolutely hates it, I am going to attack them for it. And that's within the community. That the community has done that. And I even said it before, like when it came to constructive criticism versus the grifter stuff, like I genuinely respect Dumbsville's video reviewing the different Life is Strange games because he is someone that understands that people enjoy it, and he's not necessarily bashing it because it's a grifting thing. He's bashing it because he thinks that the writing's bad, and here's some examples for why the writing's bad, and that is something that I respect. For people that are so into something, they can't necessarily they don't connect with that. They just kind of either ignore it or they attack the person for their opinions. So it brings us to an interesting part where when someone actually likes a game within the franchise, but almost everybody else doesn't like it, then there's also an attack. And it's ironic because, within the um, the different aspects and the different situations that take place in these games, specifically the first game, and I'm gonna probably use the first game as the best example. Yeah, there's probably the first one is best to fit, like bullying, um, suicide, other and because it's centered around like 18 college slash high last year of high school tend of um, ordeal, and it makes you wonder, like for people that absolutely love the games and or love the game and love the characters, to go out of their way and bully people for not sharing the same opinion. And the same thing is also can also be applied to Lost Records. Lost Records has those the gang of misfits, and even bullying when it comes to the main character. And here you go, you gotta like absolutely attacks. And if it's they're not hating it, they're liking something that you don't like. And it's almost at that point where it's like the community is essentially becoming the grifters that they also get angry at. They're no better than the people that they hate. And so when I saw the TikTok from I think her name's Captain Lawrence, and I genuinely checked out her content, especially the whenever Double Exposure came out, as well as Lost Records, just to hear the different opinions and theories and stuff, because that is someone that I admire for their love for the game, their openness to talk about the different things and problems and situations that occur within the game, and also giving that the nuance, reflection, and how they relate to the characters and all that. I absolutely love that. There are other channels that cover these games and they're kind of just playing it as for let's plays. So it really makes me wonder of who the types of people are actually encouraging this hateful um, dogpiling mentality on someone that likes Double Exposure. And it kind of just brings up all my main inner conflicts and issues that I never really wanted to address, in terms of like wanting to get more involved with the Life is Strange community, or just the community centered around the single player choice based narrative games, whatever. because I did have plans to make more Lost Records videos. I wanted to have a video talking about the importance of the music, and I also wanted to make a video talking about the importance of the game. But I'm also not a one note channel, and whenever I don't have that mentality and that drive to make those videos anymore, there's no point in making them. But I really wanted to just kind of make a final video saying, like, I never really was a part of the community. I didn't want to be a part of the community. I did want to make videos talking about why I like the games and why I, especially how I relate to the games. And I still think one of my most underrated videos and one of my favorite videos is actually my video reviewing the Life is Strange games up until Double Exposure, and also talking about my personal connection with the game, specifically the first game and Before the Storm, as it's one of those pieces of media that I can actually relate to bad moments of my life. And I don't really see that within other video games, specifically even just video game genres, as well as even other pieces of media, specifically like series, movies, and even music to that extent. So it's very special in that regards. And other people have their own connection with the characters and other the other stories as well. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to remember, and I even said it within that video, that you can't just get mad at people for not sharing the same opinion you do, but also don't apply that knowledge if you know that someone is actively hating on something just to make money. That's all I pretty much have to say. Basically, if you are part of the fandom and you don't like someone for their opinions, just leave them alone and go find someone that shares the same opinion as you, because it's not going to be damaging. Right now, Deck 9 is not in a good spot, and Donod is probably not in the best spot as well. So it does suck that, if Double Exposure did that terrible, that there's going to be probably no other Life is Strange game. But keep in mind that Lost Records did shine a light on that genre. Still, it can still be here. It still has the appeal to an extent, just not a huge appeal. So there still is a demand in some regards to those games, and a lot of people in the fan bases are still active. They still love that stuff. I just say look probably more towards the indie side, because not only would that would be a better saturated market, that would also be delivering care and responsibility with fulfilling those needs and wants from those communities rather than AAA, because you can't, as much as the soundtracks are really good from the Deck 9 games, nothing will match that same care that like Donod has displayed. And Donod is technically indie, but I'm talking about future indie studios that want to do something in the same vein as that. I know it's a long video. I know there's a lot of weird breaking down of certain things, and a lot of my opinions and stuff kind of pretty much still stands from those original videos that I made. For future content, I have plans for more video game oriented videos, specifically commentary on those, and they're more or less going to be a sequel to a video that I don't necessarily regret making. I'm actually glad that I did make it, but a lot of the opinions of that video aged poorly, and that's going to be the next thing. That might take a bit, but I'm hoping to get that done maybe tomorrow. That's all. Peace.
The thing is that most fans of Silent Hill 2 would call a person who thinks this way uncultured, or they might say something like they don't get it. And while that may very well be true, it doesn't change the fact that what you and I might see as a golden and unbeatable piece of media is just trash to someone else. And no amount of our finger wagging and trying to act above them is going to change that. Because to them, it's subjectively trash.